Let's talk about the $5,000 a week Loom strategy that you can copy today. Okay, imagine this. You've got no clients, no personal brand, no ad budget. You've tested different outreach scripts, DMing, cold emailing, trying to get replies, and you've been grinding for months. Frustration slowly starts to creep in, self-doubt as well. And just when you're ready to give up, you try this new outreach strategy, and within a week, boom, you start signing 2 high-ticket clients and add 5K a month in MRR in 7 days. Now, this is Linus. 5 days ago, he was in that exact same spot. Yet no funnel, no brand, no active clients, just months and months of trying. Today, he added an extra 5K a month by signing 2 $2,500 a month clients in a week. I'm talking 7 days. He actually signed them on, now that I see this, in the same day. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how he did it. What changed, what made this work when everything else didn't, and how you can literally take this same process, run it, and sign your next high-ticket client in under a week. I'm talking 7 days. All right, let's dive in. And just so you know, I'm not capping, here's the exact message that Linus sent in our community. First 2 clients closed, boom, that was a few days ago, and then he left some client words in here as well. He said an immense thanks to Imran. He's the best in the game, no questions, and he's so down to earth and nice, and I'll take that glazing. But listen to this, okay? Bro's changing lives out here. I'll take that glazing as well. But if you just stay focused and listen to what he has to say, there's literally no way you won't reach your goal, so you better listen until the end of this video. Now, before we go with everything that Linus did to get those clients, let's talk about what hasn't been working for him, because I think that a lot of you guys will be able to relate to this, so you can see exactly what you need to fix. Look, the truth is, just like a lot of you guys, Linus tried a lot, okay? In the past 1.5 years, he tried different business models like an AI chatbot agency, IPGA with profit share for online coaches, growth operating in the BizOps space. He tried info growth consulting. He bought multiple courses. He even went through Charlie Morgan's course and tried his Trojan horse outreach method and messaged tons of coaches. He sent personalized cold emails. He's been hopping from one method to another, but nothing really worked. He made a total of $3,000 in those 1.5 years. I'm not kidding. Now, here's the thing. He's currently in the process of graduating from high school, and if he doesn't make anything work in the next couple of months, he will have to enroll into university, because my guy is 19 and his parents are on his ass, okay? There's a lot on the line for him, okay? And most people don't fail because they're not working hard. They fail because they're doing the right things in the wrong way. And that's what we fixed. And I'm going to dive into everything right now. We're going to cover each step, and the last one is the most important, where the cash is actually being made. So you got to stick around for that one. But let's start with the first step. So the first thing that Linus said is you picked a solid niche. Now, when picking a niche, there's a couple criteria that we have to keep in mind, okay? First of all, they're ideally selling high ticket. So for us to get them a good ROI, they don't have to close that much. Like if they're selling energy drinks, for example, we have to sell thousands and thousands of them to get them a good ROI. But if it's a high ticket product that they're selling for a couple $1,000, then we don't actually have to get them that many clients for them to get a good ROI. Like kitchens, for example. The second criteria is they need to be accessible. Okay, we actually need to be able to reach them. We can't be trying to work with Tim Cook or anybody like that. The market has to be grown that they're in. It can't be a market that is too small or shrinking. They also have to have a client acquisition problem, so they need to actually be struggling with getting more clients, and they have to have high cash flow and are able to reinvest to solve their problems. Low cash flow businesses, for example, are restaurants. So based on Linus' past experience, we picked a niche that matched all these criteria, and it ended up being the incredibly original niche of online fucking business coaches, okay? But we did niche down a little bit more, okay? We only work with business coaches who are already on Instagram and socials, but they're struggling to get attention, so they only get a couple likes per post, or they do get attention, but they struggle to convert the attention into actual paying clients. And they're usually at a couple hundred to a few thousand followers, so we kind of work with the smaller people. Now, this right here is a solid niche. So we move on to the next step. Creating a no-brainer offer. Okay. In Linus' case, we made the following offer. Okay. We offered to help them at $15K a month in monthly recurring revenue within 4 months, or we work for free until we do. Now, we get this result by generating attention through highly converting top of funnel profile visit ads. So we get a lot of lead flow for them. Then we also help them create the right organic content to nurture these leads that are flowing in, so they actually start to trust our client. Then we also take care of their appointment settings, so these leads show up as qualified and warm sales calls on our client's calendar. Now, the client literally just has to close those calls that are ready for them to take. And for this, we charge a minimum of $8K as a service fee and $4K in ad spend for 4 months. So the total offer is $12K, but $4K of that is going straight to ads, and the client doesn't pay to us. So that is a minimum of $2K a month. But ideally, we would like to be charging a little bit more. But Linus was just starting out, so we didn't, try to charge that much in the very beginning. Then the next step is the most exciting part. It is booking them calls. Now, when it came to booking the calls, we had one huge problem. Because maybe like some of you watching right now, Linus had no brand, no case studies, no ad spend, no leads. My guy had nothing. Okay. And in cases like these, where we technically don't even deserve somebody's attention, like why would a prospect seriously pay somebody like this attention when there's a lot better companies and agencies out there? We need to make a shift. Okay. We don't ask for attention, we earn it. How do we do that? By sending looms upfront. Let me explain. Well, you stop sending messages like, hey, do you want a video? And just started recording personalized 3 to 4 minute looms, giving value up front. Okay, because that means there's no friction. They don't have to say yes. There's no waiting after saying yes. There's just real help on their problems in their inbox, ready to take in. Okay, it was risky. It was a lot of effort, sure, but it did work really well. Now, before I give you some very important tips on your loom so that you can guarantee that people actually see it and also respond to your loom and want to get on a call with you, here are Linus's actual KPIs. So these right here are his actual numbers and KPIs because we always track everything meticulously on our sheets like this. And I'll break down what this all means and why this is the cheat code to 15, 20, 30K a month businesses. So this right here is the overview of the month of May. So when we look at the bottom left right here, you can see Linus actually started sending looms on the 26th of May. So almost at the very end. Now, as you can see, he sent about 10, 50, sometimes 20 looms a day. And in total, he sent 73 until the end of the month. Then about 35 of those looms got viewed. Okay, this is like the column for the viewed looms. So out of 73 looms, 35 got viewed within the same month. Obviously, some of them got viewed in the next couple of days in June, but that's irrelevant right now. 20 of those 35 looms actually went ahead and responded, asking questions, being interested. Obviously, now some probably said fuck off, but that's part of outreach. And then he got 4 of those booked in for a call. Now, he closed 2 of those. Here you can see the charts of it. Like he started going crazy, kind of dipped with the looms again. Then he got all of these people, seeing the loom. Then these people replied. Then he booked 2 calls and then 2 of them got closed right here. Now, if we go to the right side right here, which is our KPI doctor, you'll see his actual metrics, okay? His reply rate to these looms was about 57%, which is insane, okay? Then his call book rate was about 20% from there. So he booked in 20% of replies, which can be quite a bit better, but we're working on that. And then he closed about 50% of that. Now, what we can do with all this data is actually pretty cool because now we can do projections. So let's just say his target revenue is 10K, which it is. I mean, he's already 5, but our goal starting off was to get to 10K a month. So if we enter this number right here, you will see how all of these numbers will change. And I'm going to explain what that means. We enter the target revenue, which is 10K a month. Our average price is $2,500 a month. And now we see what is required. With the current KPIs, Linus needs to send 146 looms to get 70 views, to have 40 conversations, to book 8 calls, and to have 4 calls closed. If all the KPIs are staying the same. Now, the more looms we send, the more accurate this data will become. Now, this is not where the coolness stops, okay? Because if you look at this bottom bit right here, we can also make time projections. So let's just say Linus wants to get to 10K a month in the next month, okay, in the next 4 weeks. So all we have to do is enter the time frame of 4 weeks. Now we get the number of how many looms Linus actually has to record on average per week and per day to hit that goal in 4 weeks with high certainty. Okay, so he has to send 37 looms a week and about 5 a day on average. Now, this already has a high certainty. So if he just keeps going and sending 15, 20 looms a day, there's a very, very high chance that he will definitely hit that goal of 10K a month and probably even surpass it. Now, I get what you're thinking. Okay, all of this is pretty cool. My guy can get to 10K a month in 4 weeks, whatever. How can I do the same is what you're thinking right now. I'm going to break this down as well. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to do for this Loom strategy to perform just as well for you as it did for Linus. So the first question that we need to ask ourselves is, how do we make sure that people actually watch our Loom? Okay, so that is a very simple answer. We basically sent this motherfucking Loom over every single platform that our clients are on, because that will get us a full calendar. So what most people do is they record a Loom and they send it over Instagram or they send it over email. What we do is we record this Loom and ideally have an assistant. Okay, you're not doing this yourself, but if you are, then it takes a little bit of extra time. But these looms will actually get seen just like Linus's looms are getting seen. Okay, we sent this over email, over Instagram, over X, over LinkedIn, over WhatsApp, and any other platform our guy is on. Motherfucking Snapchat, if they're on Snapchat. All right, I don't care what they're on, but they're seeing this loom. So the next problem is, how do we make sure that people actually watch the whole loom? Okay, how can we make sure they don't click on it and just fuck right off? That's a great question because we challenge them. Okay. So at the very beginning of the Loom, you basically want to say something like, if you watch this whole Loom and you feel like it wasn't worth your time, just message me, send me your PayPal, and I'll buy you coffee for the rest of the week. No joke. Now, what happens when you do this and you challenge them is they not only watch the Loom until the very end because they want to see if they can actually grab some free coffee off of you, but they also pay more attention because now they actually want to see for their own benefit if this Loom is valuable or not. And for that, they have to listen. Now, this is genius, but there's one more problem, okay? How do we actually make sure that they really respond to our Loom after watching it? Now, this is arguably the most important part. When people do watch it, how can you make sure they respond in an interested way? And there are exactly two things that you can do. First, we can't just make them a presentation, okay? We have to make sure to talk about what they are currently doing with their socials, with their business, with whatever we're trying to help them with, and why that's bad for their business. Then only after that, we talk about what you would want to do instead, or what they should do instead, and how that solves that problem. Let me give you an example. Okay, if you say start running ads, they will like, cool, thanks for the suggestion. I might look into this, but it's not really an issue for me right now. But if you say something like this instead, so look, John, I know that you're posting organic content right now, and that's a lot better than not posting anything, but there's a problem with that. Okay, from talking to a lot of coaches, I know that usually the type of content you guys post is, whatever comes to mind that day. Okay, you see something, you get inspired, you just record something and you post it. And that is great and all. But the issue with that is, just like I'm seeing on your profile right now, is that it's usually not really generating that much attention. Okay, you're not really getting that many views and that much engagement from your ideal prospects. And that is because these videos are not really optimized for attention, but you're kind of also just at the mercy of Facebook's and Instagram's algorithm, and they do whatever they want. But what you really need in your business is consistency. And so what we do instead is we run paid ads to your profile that are super affordable, that just help bring qualified leads consistently into your business, okay? And we usually turn every dollar that we invest into that into $5 to $10. What this does is you can still post any organic content that you like, anything that comes to mind, but you actually have a machine that you can put a dollar in and get five out at any time. And you can ramp this up or slow this down without having to rely on Instagram or the algorithm to push out your content. So what we do right now is we're making this relevant. We're making start running ads relevant to them because we're saying, so right now you're doing this, and that's causing these problems, for example, inconsistencies in the business. And then what we do instead is we do run those affordable ads, and that helps with consistency. And then you can even go into the emotional side effects of this. That's causing stress when you don't have control over your business. But if you do have it, you kind of just can control how much money you're actually making. And, when they hear this, they understand, well, this is relevant to me. I felt stressed last week when I made less money because the content hasn't been performing that well. And they'll understand why what you're saying is actually relevant to them specifically. And they will listen, and they will then after that respond because they know this is addressing them. The second thing you can do for them to respond is implement a banger CTA. You basically want to give them no reason not to respond, no reason to ignore you. And you do that by, first of all, bringing the coffee line back up, saying, hey, look, John, if you felt like this was a waste of time, just let me know. I'm more than happy to, buy you that coffee. Just send me your PayPal, please. But if you felt like, wait, this kind of made sense, I see how this could help, but I'm not sure if this is really worth the time that people needs to be put into this. I get that. I totally understand. And I think it is worth the time, but maybe not worth your time. So what I can do, John, for you is do all of this actually completely for free. I can take a couple hours to all this research, craft some ads, and I show you how they will look like. And if you like them, we could potentially help you implement those. But if not, again, I'll buy you a coffee and I'll fuck off. So you give them two options. Either they get free coffee or they get a free strategy or free ads or free whatever you offer. Okay, there's no reason for them not to respond to that loom. So now that you know how to make an amazing loom that actually performs, gets viewed, gets responded to, and books calls, all you have to do is you have to close them. Okay, now it's time to collect cash. On those sales calls, the only thing that you really need to keep in mind is that you are not desperate. Okay, you need to be a doctor, right? You just need to be laid back, be calm, be chill. Hear the prospect out, see what kind of problems they have, what issues they have. And if you think that you genuinely can help them with those problems, you'll just present that solution. They will like it because you're genuine and you're cool, and you'll close them. Okay, just like Lennis, he doesn't have a ton of sales experience. He still closed 50% of those calls just by being calm and showing the solution, and the prospect actually seeing that there's good. Because as long as you really have a good offer, it kind of almost sells itself, right? Like with this offer that we created with him, it's basically adding 15K a month to their business a month, right? So that comes every single month, meaning 15K this month, then another 15K next month. It's already 30K, 45K, whatever. And they have to invest a total of 12K total, right? So obviously there's a no-brainer offer. Then obviously we work for free until they do. So all they would really have to invest is 12K, nothing more until we hit that goal. But just so you don't have to take my word for all of this, let me just call my man Linus up real quick. All right, so my man did not pick up, understandably, because he's currently shopping suits right here, as you can see, for his graduation. Yeah, my boy is actually finishing school right now and made 5K in a day. But I'm sure you'll see an interview with him on my channel soon enough anyway, so you'll get to meet my boy. But until then, if you have any questions on any other stuff, or if you thought this was valuable, give me a like, give me a comment, or message me on Instagram if you have any questions. I'll answer every single comment here as well. So just let me know. All right, peace out. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.